Hey guys, MotorCarNut here, and today we're going to be removing a Subaru engine. This is the 2.5 2013 Forester, but it really doesn't matter. Almost all these Subarus from 90s all the way up into current are basically the same as far as, you know, how they're in the engine compartment and how they hook up. Maybe a couple of little different connectors, a little bit of different with the air cleaner. The older ones, this is aluminum, this is plastic, but it's pretty much the same. So whatever kind of Subaru you got, Impreza, Forester, Outback, you know, it'll be a good video for you if you want to pull the engine. This engine is seized. I can't even turn it over with a breaker bar. So we're going to take it out, take it apart. These engines are expensive, so I'm going to take it apart, see exactly what happened. If it destroyed the block, then we're going to get a new engine. Okay, so the first thing, the battery is out. There's a little plastic tray here, and there's going to be a battery clamp that holds the battery down from jumping around. It's a 10 millimeter nut. You take it off. Okay, you take the battery out, and there's a plastic tray. Take the plastic tray out, and take your fill caps off, the radiator cap, your oil dipstick. Back here is a tranny dipstick, and that's where we are right now. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off, the little air snorkel. Okay, it's got some pins here, plastic pins right there, and I'll see what else is there. I'll let you know. And then I'm going to just disconnect the sensor to the map sensor over here. Take these off, air cleaner's in there. Gonna take the tube off over there, the clamp off over there. And just gonna get that right out of the way for now. So it comes right out, slides right out of here. And what is a good idea, you see I put the fasteners back where they belong, so when you put things back together, you don't have to have a big pile of screws, you're not gonna know where they go. Whatever you took off, whatever part it is, you put the fasteners to it, so when you put it back together, it's gonna be a lot easier. Okay, so before you take this off, you're going to have a little, the wiring over here. There's a little pin there, connects to here. Just disconnect that. The clamp over there. And on this side, you're going to have a hose clamp right here. Just take that clamp out. You see how it interferes? And then you could just take the cleaner hose off. Okay, you don't have to take this off if you don't want to, but for me, it's in the way. I like a little bit more room. So if you want to take it off, there's a 10 millimeter here and a nut right there, and you take that out. Actually, don't take the nut off from there. You can get it from in there. You see that one right there? Take it off there. It's easier. Okay, when you pull it, it's going to have some kind of a white tank on there, okay, for the air cleaner, but that's how she comes out, so it gives you more room. Okay, so the overflow, you just have a hose here, take it off there, and over here, you see over here is a little plastic thing. You just push that little plastic thing in, because it holds here, I'll show you. Look, it's going to lock it in. It locks it in like that, so you can't get it out, right? So you just push this in, and then you just take it out. And that comes right out. Little tab was over there. Take this vacuum hose off, put it to the side, and we're going to release the fuel. Be careful with the fuel. You put a rag on there. As you're taking it off, I'll show you how to do that right now. Now to get the fuel line off, you see this tab? It has two little notches. Those two little notches, that means the tab that's holding it is 90 degrees this way, and 90 degrees of each other, I'm sorry. So let's say if this is 12 o'clock, it's going to be at 3 o'clock, and it's going to be at 9 o'clock. Is where you have the tabs that you got to push in. Now, you can use, like I had a regular line, I cut it because it doesn't fit in here. But if you have like picks, two little picks, you can get picks in there. But what I do is I slide this in here like this, right? Because this bracket is in the way, and then I just turn it, all right, like that. I get the other one. See, I cut it in half because this is supposed to be together. For you guys that know what I'm talking about, it takes off lines. And what it does, you push this in again. You push them both in like that. And then you put a rag over here so it doesn't squirt. And then you just push it off. So, let's see. Let me line up my hand a little bit better. And then you push in as you pull off. And then it releases. I believe it's out already. Let me just take these so I don't lose them. Okay. So let me tell you what I'm showing you. You see over here? Now you see the tabs in there? There's one right here, and on the other side, you see them? How they lock in? So when you see these grooves, you know one is on this side and one is on this side, and you get something in there. You get something in there that can push it in, and basically, I think you get the idea. Basically, it's locked on here, like this, and you need something to push these away so it slides in. And basically, when you put it back, it'll lock in itself. I'll show you. You just go like this, and you push it, and now it's locked in again. And then you just find your marks again here, and you know the tabs on this side and tabs on this side. You put them both in, you hold, you put pressure here while you pull it out, and it'll come right off. Okay, next, then you get the lines out of the way, and the next, we're going to take this. All right, we're going to keep this on the engine over here. You put a screwdriver in here. There's a little tab right here. You put it in there, and then you just lift up and it releases it. Okay, like that. We may have to, you know what? It's probably take the starter out and leave this electrical connector connected to the starter. It's just that over here, you just have to take this off so this stays with the harness. Or, if you want, you can just take it off over there and just leave the harness in the car. It's up to you. Then we come over here, take off this, the fastener, the wire clip that's over here. Take off that. I believe that's a 13. And yours is probably, this one's somebody repaired. You're probably gonna have a plug. Just take the plug out, and this harness, just move it to the side. After you took off the power cables to the starter over there, move things out of the way. I did it this way. I kept it so it's gonna be in the car. We're gonna take off, before I go underneath and drain the coolant, so I can take off the radiator hoses and the fans, I'm gonna take off the compressor, AC compressor. All right. It's got, you gotta take off this little bracket. These look like they're 12 millimeter. There, and there. And you move it out of the way. Don't disconnect the Freon lines. Okay? It's gonna just take it off and it's gonna move to the side. Okay, so you got, to get the bracket out, you got, these are 12 millimeter, 4 of them. Okay, 10 millimeter here. And then back over here, 14 millimeter. You take this off. All right, and then this was here. All right, 12 millimeter. You take this off, and now it's loose. And you just move it out of the way. Okay, and then power steering pump, what I wanted to do, I wanted to just take it off with the lines so the lines don't, you know, no power steering fluid comes out. But in the back over here, there's a bolt that hits the water passage over there, the water tube over there. So you can't take it out, all right, that way. So you may have to just take it off here, cap the hose, and the same thing over here. Okay, and then let me move this out of the way and we'll continue. Okay, over here you have the fuel line. What you do is a little clip here. You just take a screwdriver and this little blue clip, you just push it. Just push it in and it'll pop out like that. All right, I didn't see that. See how it pops out? Doesn't have to come all the way out, just like that. And then they just pop off. Okay? And make sure you get the vacuum line here. And any lines that hook up to it, and electrical connectors. Like I said before, what else we have here? We had a vacuum line here, 2 electrical connectors there, and another one over here. And let's see if she comes off. Now, in the back over here, you're gonna have a metal tube. See the mirror I have over here? You see this tube right here? Let me zoom it in. Right there, it has the 2 10 millimeters. Gotta take those off before you remove the plastic manifold. And once you lift it up, you're gonna see there's gonna be a little blue connector right there. Gotta take that connector out as well. Once you got that off, now it's just easier to get the engine bolts out. And now, especially over here, you're gonna have a rubber plug. You're gonna take this rubber plug off, and this is where you're gonna get your converter bolts. Yeah, actually, there's one right there. See that? That's how you get them. And you just take them all off. I don't know how many there is. I think there's 6 or 8. You just take them off. I ain't taking them off because, as you know, remember, this engine is seized, so it doesn't move. And I have to take it out with the converter stuck on it. And once I have the engine out, I'll see how I can free it up. Or even if it's salvageable, I don't even know. Okay, from now, you have electrical connectors here. You take them all off. You leave all the harnesses on the engine. Everything that's on the engine, don't disconnect it in the car. Just disconnect it from here, and whatever stays on the car, it's easier to do on a stand than to start disconnecting things in the car. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to drain the coolant so I can take off this radiator hose. And like I said, I can take off the fans. And so that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to drain the coolant. So what you're going to have to do, there's no drain. So you're going to have to just take the lower hose off to drain it out. And while you're down here, it's a good idea to pull out the exhaust. All right. I mean, you could take it, I don't know if you could, but you could probably take it out with the engine. But I'm going to take it off because it's just easier that way. It has to come off anyway, so I might as well do it in the car, but it's up to you. And over here, you got 14 millimeter nuts. All right, one of them is just totally rotted away. I'm gonna have to put like a socket on it and weld it so I don't destroy the threads. And then once you're there, up in here, you're gonna see there's 1, 2, and on the other side is 3, and the same thing on the other side. And they're 14 millimeter nuts. And then you just support it with a jack, okay? And then you lower it, and then there's gonna be the O2 sensor connectors. You don't wanna rip them out, okay? You lower it to get to them. Well, basically you don't even have to lower it, they're right here. Your model may be a little bit different, but they're right here, 1 and 2. And you just, take them off before you lower it. Sometimes they're in the back, sometimes they're on the top. So it all depends on your year, make, and model. Not make, year and model. Okay, back on top, we're going to take off the upper radiator hose. I'm going to take off the fans. You got 2 10 millimeters here, and down there was a connector. Just like this one over here, connectors down there. 2 10s. And we'll take the fans out and the radiator hose. Now, if you're taking the radiator out, there's 2 brackets here. It's a 12 millimeter, holds the radiator here. 12 millimeter holds the radiator here. On the bottom, you're going to have 2 transmission lines, a short one and a long one. Just take them off, okay? And then the radiator just slips right out. Like I said before, you really don't have to take the radiator out. I'm doing it to give me this much more room so I can slide the engine, the converter off the transmission, because the engine's locked. But if yours is fine, you don't have to do that. You don't have to replace the radiator. Okay, so if you follow on the way I'm doing it, then you're going to have to take the pulley off to get to the alternator bolt. All right, take that bolt out, take the one on the top out, alternator comes out. And what we can actually do back here, there's going to be a bracket. Okay, so now obviously if you took the intake manifold off, then we're good to go. If you didn't, it's going to be hard to do that. This way I can take this pulley, the whole thing out without loosening the wires, without loosening the hoses and making a mess. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Okay, then there's going to be another pulley here. You take that out, You got 14 millimeter 1, 14 millimeter 2, 14 millimeter 3, and 14 millimeter, this one right over here. You can see it right here. Okay, you take them out, and now you can move this power steering pump to the side. So now you got that out of the way. You look around. Now, basically, everything is okay with the engine as far as coming out by itself. Okay, besides the engine to transmission bolts that we have to still take out, everything on this side. I didn't take the exhaust out yet, but you're probably going to take that exhaust out, or you can leave it in. You know, when you lift it up, I don't think there'll be a problem, but I'm taking it out. Okay, but so everything on this side is okay. This is loose. All right, this is easy. Get ready to just swing out of the way. And now on this side over here, what we're going to do next, going to take out the starter. We're going to disconnect this bracket over here, even though that holds the tranny. But I think we've got to take it out anyway because we have to lift the engine up to clear the studs on the engine mount to slide it forward and pull it out. Then you got your heater core hoses over here. I'm going to take these two off. All right, we get them out of the way. So what I'm going to do right now is do the heater core hoses, these two. I'm going to take the starter out. So now, after that, you're going to have the bolts. Is one here, one there, and it's a nut all the way on the bottom because it's a stud. All right, you got to take those out. They're 14 millimeter. All right, and on the other side, after you take the starter out, there's going to be a bolt here. See here, here's the nut for the starter. Right next to it, there's going to be a bolt. And then on the bottom is going to be, we'll probably get it from the bottom, I'm going to see. It's a nut, again, over there. And then right over here is another 14 millimeter bolt, looks like that. So now we're going to take them all the way around the perimeter. Okay, everything else is pretty much loose. Nothing's holding the engine, I don't believe. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, I'm gonna take those bolts off, and I'm gonna go on the bottom. I'm gonna show you the nuts on both sides. Let's see how we're gonna get to those, and I'm gonna pull off the exhaust. You probably already did yours. So now I'm on the bottom of the car, and you have, here's the nut I'm talking about, and then there's gonna be another bolt up there. Same thing here, one there, and then the rest you could probably grab from the top. Now, like I said, this is gonna be a nut, and it's gonna have a stud that's in the engine. All right, so when we lift it up, we have to slide it out of that thing. It's gonna be about 3 inches. Why they did that, I don't know, but there's probably a reason. So I'm gonna take these bolts out, and we're gonna continue. And now, here's the motor mount. There's going to have bolts right here. That's 14. And same thing on this side, 14. Take them out. And the ground strap, there's going to be a ground strap here that goes right here. 10 millimeter, you take that one out. This one was broken, but you have one on this side too. Okay, there. And it mounts to there. Make sure if it's broken, you replace it. Okay, because you can have problems. All right, so I think that's it for now. We're going to go back up and hook up a crane. Okay, a side note, if you don't have an impact strong enough to take this the crank bolt off before you take the engine out, after you take the engine out, what you could do is wedge a thick crowbar, have somebody hold it in the flywheel over there while you crack this bolt loose, okay? Because if you don't have an impact to do it when it's on an engine stand, it's going to be really difficult. Just a note. Crane is hooked up, and the toughest thing is going to probably be if this engine and transmission was never separated, it doesn't seem like it likes to come out. So what you're going to have to do is over here, you see that little, that's where you mount that little dog bone. All right, you can hit that with a piece of wood. A nice couple of sharp hits until it starts to separate. And then, you know, little by little, you can put maybe a screwdriver in there or a pry bar and wiggle it out. She'll come out. But this one was a little tricky. Okay. You see the shaft on the bottom? Let's dig some in. There we go. All right. And these pins are rusted in there. So you give it a good whack over here, right on that thing. All right. It should separate a little bit, and she'll slide out. So now we're just gonna pull it out. Okay. So as you pull it out, just make sure you don't hit anything as you're jacking it up. Make sure no wires are pulling. You know, a lot of times you can pull a wire so bad that it comes out of its socket, and you'll go crazy looking for the problem. So just be careful. All right, see how it looks in the back? It's pretty much out. Over here, you see? You gotta just make sure it doesn't hit anything as it's coming out, and just come right out. You may have to disconnect the shocks on the, you're gonna have to take them off anyway. Maybe the 10 millimeters here and here, just drop them down and push the hood up a little bit more to get the engine out. And that's it. I'll give you a walk around. And what gets stuck when you first take the engine from the tranny, you see how these are rusted? They really get stuck in there. So, like I said, on the transmission, there's a little nubby right here. You just hit it a little bit, then you can get a crowbar in here little by little, maybe oil it up a little bit, and she'll pop out. All right? And what I said before was this engine was seized. It happened, though, that it was turning counterclockwise, which you're never supposed to do, but this engine is probably, you know, destroyed anyway, but it was turning counterclockwise. So I was able to get the converter bolts, which they're all right here. There's only 4 of them right here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And when you set it up to take it out, the transmission, all right, put 2 blocks on it like that, off to the side, that it doesn't interfere with the studs that have to go in here to line it back up to slide it back in. The transmission shouldn't just lay on the chassis. That's not going to work. And make sure that the converter's all the way in and it's out maybe like 1/8 of an inch. All right, versus the surface of the transmission to the converter. The converter sticks out just about, I would say, about 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch all the way around. That's important when you put the new one back, because if you look at this is inverted about 1/2 inch. So it has plenty of space to turn around so it doesn't bind. All right, you don't want to have the converter not all the way fully seated. You try to tighten this up and you'll have transmission damage. All right, guys, so that's basically how you pull it out. I'm going to take this one apart. You want to watch that video? I'm doing that one next. All right, guys, MotorCarNut. Please subscribe, hit the like button. Any questions, leave them below. I answer all my questions pertaining to the video. And I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, thank you for watching.